members of SAG-AFTRA that are not subject to the contract that's under dispute. You're listening to NPR News.
Good afternoon. It's 12:04. I'm Avi Wolfman-Arent, and this is WHYY News. Pennsylvania's four state-related universities are trying to determine next steps after the democratically controlled state house failed to approve an increase in their funding. WHYY's Ben Wasserstein reports Penn State, Pitt, Temple, and Lincoln universities are considering whether to raise tuition for in-state students.
The schools saw the House reject the $642 million proposal, which would have been a 7% increase over last year's state funding. The move could impact the four universities' own budget planning, but House Republican leader Brian Cutler of Lancaster County says this isn't about the institutions.
It should absolutely be about student opportunity, not institutional entitlement.
Pitt spokesperson Jared Stonshofer says the entire subsidy from the state goes to an in-state discount for thousands of Pennsylvania students. Penn State says it was disappointed, noting the funding supports 40,000 in-state students at its main and branch campuses. Temple is raising tuition by 4.2% for in-state students and 4.4% for out-of-state students. Lincoln has a freeze on tuition, but during March budget hearings, President Brenda Allen said the university needs to be able to adjust it. At the state capitol in Harrisburg, I'm Ben Wasserstein.
You heard on our national newscast about that actors union strike in Philadelphia. The impact may not be felt deeply because most major film and television productions have already been shut down since May due to the ongoing writer's strike. Adam Rotliff is a senior vice president at Sunchester Studio, a stage campus in Chester that caters to large-scale film, television, and streaming movie productions.
A lot is pretty quiet right now, and we're rooting for swift resolution to the labor dispute there. But now with SAG throwing their hat in the ring and sort of complicating it further, let's say, it might be a while before the industry is sort of back to work.
The Philadelphia Film Office said all film productions that were scheduled for this summer had already been put on hold. 87 humid degrees here in Philadelphia. Won't get too much warmer today. Could see some storms in the afternoon. At 12:06, this is 90.9.
Support for NPR comes from Angie, dedicated to helping homeowners find skilled pros to get their home projects done well, from everyday repairs to dream remodels. Reviews, pricing, and booking are at Angie.com or on the Angie app. This is NPR.
I'm Marty Moss-Cohen. Welcome to The Connection. Who can describe the athletic heart? That was a rhetorical question that legendary sports writer Dan Jenkins posed to the award-winning sports writing daughter, Sally Jenkins. It's the question that both guided and inspired her new book, The Life Path, What Sports Can Teach Us About Work and Life. She's been interviewing elite athletes and coaches and covering sports for 40 years and has been a feature writer and columnist at the Washington Post for more than 20. And while people like Rafael Nadal, Michael Jordan, and Simone Biles have extraordinary, seemingly superhuman talents, Jenkins says they weren't just born that way. They became champions through intense practice and self-discipline, through learning from failure, from caring coaches who were demanding and honest, and of course driven by a profound love of the sport. Well, you and I, or at least I, will never compete in the Olympics or the Super Bowl or an NBA final or at Wimbledon. Jenkins says there's a lot we can take away from these superstars and apply to our own lives. And Sally Jenkins, nice to have you with us on The Connection. Thank you for having me. You're very welcome. Well, you do write that elite athletes can teach us mere mortals about how to overcome some of life's adversities and how to be our best or maybe better selves. What has covering athletes for 4 decades taught you about you?
Well, it teaches that we're all vulnerable to pressure. That's a really common experience no matter what you do, whether you're an Olympic swimmer or you're a sports writer sitting at a desk on deadline, or anybody else who works from the neck up at a desk. Your body doesn't know what's stressing you or pressuring you, actually. And so one of the really interesting insights that I had during reporting the book was that very fact, and that all of us can learn ways to mitigate pressures and stresses to perform better under pressure and make better decisions under pressure.
And a follow-up, how much do you think life is like sports or sports is like life, and how much do you think they are actually different?
Well, the great 49ers quarterback Steve Young said that sports are the greatest human laboratory in the world, and I think he's right. I actually think it's a pretty good lesson in neurology, it's a pretty good lesson in biology, and it's a pretty good lesson in psychology to watch all these people. And the interesting advantage of observing athletes and coaches under pressure is that unlike most executives, they're making their decisions right in front of you in real time. Whereas, say Disney's Bob Iger is making calculations and decisions behind closed doors, and we really only infer his process from results or, an occasional shareholders meeting. So, these people are actually a really good kind of laboratory for examining a lot of these issues.